Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I've got a beautiful feeling. Everything's going my way. There's a bright golden haze on the meadow. There's a bright golden haze on the meadow. The corn is as high as an elephant's eye, and it looks like it's climbing clear up in the sky. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I've got a beautiful feeling. Everything's going my way. All the sounds of the earth are like music. Oh, the sounds of the earth are like music. The breeze is so busy, it don't miss a tree. And an old weeping willow is laughing at me. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I've got a wonderful feeling. Everything's going my way. Oh, what a beautiful day.
Thank you, Richard. That was lovely. Good morning and welcome to the First Universalist Church of Rochester, where we are called to nurture the spirit and serve the community. Whoever you are, we welcome you. Wherever you come from, we welcome you. Whomever you love, we welcome you. Whether you find it easy to keep the faith or struggle to remain hopeful in these challenging times, we welcome you. We welcome all of you. It's good to be together this morning. And it's a special gift and delight to have Erin Scott as our guest in the virtual pulpit this morning. Erin is a lifelong UU, born in Rochester and raised in this very congregation, as some of you very well know. She's a first-year seminarian and Jenkin Lloyd Jones Scholar at Meadville Lombard Theological School in Chicago. She joins us this morning from her home in Western Massachusetts to deliver her first full-length sermon, and we are so glad that she's doing that for us. At the top of our online service, we want to invite you to please remain muted throughout the service. When too many voices sing or speak together, it can create a cacophony of munchkin voices on our audio, which can disturb the flow and the experience of worship. As we gather this morning, we want to invite you to pop into the chat and offer a greeting. You can find this at the top or the bottom of the screen with an icon of a text bubble and the word chat. So please pop on over and offer a greeting. It could be a wave of hello or I'm here or whatever you prefer. Welcome to worship at First Universalist.
So please join us in our opening hymn. This is hymn number 9, No Longer Forward Nor Behind.
No longer
Amy Mackenzie Quinn has written a powerful call to worship entitled, "Welcome to this common sacred space." I'm sure that she will understand my impulse to alter her words slightly, given that our space is now anything but common. Welcome to this common, uncommon space. Common because we're all welcome. Uncommon because, well, look at us. Here we are in our living rooms and dining rooms and kitchens and sun porches and balconies. There's nothing common in the sense of shared about the places where we gather today. There's nothing common in the sense of usual either. In fact, it's most uncommon, unusual, atypical, even extraordinary. And yet, the spaces we inhabit, our common, uncommon space, is undoubtedly sacred. Sacred because here and there and wherever we are, we transform the ordinary and attend to the profound. Come, let us worship together. As we light our chalice, will you join me in saying our chalice lighting words in unison? May we be a people of welcome, here to grow in heart and mind and spirit. And may we reach out to serve our community. And now please join me in our affirmation of faith, followed by our doxology. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the source and meaning of life. Thus do we covenant with each other and with all. Nancy Wood writes, "Hold on to what is good, even if it is a handful of earth. Hold on to what you believe, even if it is a tree which stands by itself. Hold on to what you must do, even if it is a long way from here. Hold on to my hand, even when I have gone away from you." For many of us, what we believe, what we consider good, and what actions we are moved to take are closely entwined with our beloved church. Even though we have indeed gone away from each other physically, let us be generous in support of our church, ever mindful of the fact that we will one day return to our beautiful sanctuary. Please copy and paste the link in the chat to give online or send a check to the church. Thank you so much for your generosity this morning.
To dream the impossible dream, to fight the unbeatable foe, to bear with unbearable sorrow, to run where the brave dare not go, to right the unrightable wrong, to be better far than you are, to try when your arms are too weary, to reach the unreachable star. This is my quest, to follow that star, no matter how hopeless, no matter how far, to be willing to give when there's no more to give, to be willing to die so that honor and justice can live. And I know if I only be true to this glorious quest, that my heart will be peaceful and calm when I'm laid to my rest. And the world will be better for this, that one man scorned and covered with scars, still strove with his last ounce of courage to dream the impossible dream, to reach the unreachable star.
Good morning, friends. Today's story is adapted from The Empty Pot by Demi. And I wanted to make sure if there are children in your house, if you want to invite them into the room for the story, that would be great. Our version of inviting the kids to come down to the front. Invite the kids to come into the room. Thank you. Long ago, the emperor of an ancient land was old and dying. He loved children but had none of his own. So the emperor decided to choose one of the children of his land to be the next emperor. Now the emperor also loved plants and growing things, and of these he had many. So nobody was surprised by the test he offered the children of the land. The emperor called all the children to the palace, and he said, "I will give one seed to each of you. Come back in 1 year. And when I see what you have grown from your seeds, I will choose the next emperor." The children ran from the palace smiling. All they had to do was grow a seed and they could be emperor. But a year is a long time, and most of the children decided to wait a while to do their planting. And as the year went by, many children forgot their seeds. But one boy named Chen took care of his seed right away. Just like the emperor himself, Chen loved plants. Chen carefully carried the emperor's seed home, sealing it securely in his hands so it wouldn't fall, but not so tightly that it might crush. As soon as he got home, Chen found a clay pot made by his grandfather. He thought that the pot would be just right to grow his seed. He washed out the pot and dried it carefully. Next, Chen found rich black soil that had many worms in it to make it nourishing, and filled the pot with his soil, planted the seed, and covered it with the soil. Chen set the pot in the sun, and each day he lightly sprinkled water on the seed. But nothing grew. Nothing at all. Some weeks went by. The other children boasted to each other of the wonderful large plants they had grown. But Chen's seed didn't grow. He tried moving the pot to another window. He tried watering his plant more, and even singing to his plant. But no matter what Chen did, his seed did not grow. Then a year had passed. It was time to return to the emperor and Chen was ashamed that his seed had not grown. His wise grandfather said, "You did your best, Chen. You were caring and patient. Be honest with the emperor and explain that you did your best. It will be enough." So when Chen returned to the palace with his empty pot held carefully in his arms, the children lined up to present their plants. The first child had a large plant with thick leaves, a ginseng plant that could be used to make paper and medicine. The next child had a eucalyptus plant, a healthy, strong plant that would soon become a tree big enough to produce food for many animals. By the time Chen's term came, he was so sad about his empty pot. Feeling embarrassed, Chen held his empty pot up for the emperor to see. Chen explained how he had lovingly cared for his seed. He talked about his love for his grandfather who made the pot. He told the emperor everything he had done to care for the seed and how sad he felt that the seed would not grow. The emperor smiled and spoke. "There is only one among you who is honest enough to be the emperor," he said. "The seeds I gave you had been boiled, so they would never grow. These wonderful plants some children have shown me did not come from the seeds I gave them." Now some of the other children looked ashamed because they had not been honest, and the emperor knew it. Only one child cared enough for the seed, even when it didn't grow, the emperor said. Only Chen gave the seed all it needed and asked for nothing. Only Chen was honest enough to show me an empty pot. Chen will be the new emperor. Chen moved into the emperor's palace with his grandfather. The old emperor taught him many things about gardening and much more. And when the emperor died, he was smiling because he knew that Chen would care for his land with love and with honesty. This story tells us about how valuable it can be to care for something, to live and act faithfully, even through challenge, even when we don't necessarily see the fruit bearing that we thought it would. But if we continue to care and act with faith and do our best, that the fruit will come, but it might not necessarily be the fruit that you were expecting. Thank you. And parents and families, there is a coloring sheet and worksheet about the empty pot in our family Facebook group if you are interested in that. Thanks so much.
Smile though your heart is aching, smile even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you'll get by if you smile through your fear and sorrow. Smile and maybe tomorrow you'll see the sun come shining through for you. Light up your face with gladness, hide every trace of sadness, although a tear may be ever so near. That's the time you must keep on trying. Smile, what's the use of crying? You'll find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile.
I invite you now into this reverent time of sharing joys and sorrows of our gathered community. If you would like to, you can place your hand over your heart to be able to listen from this heart-centered space. As I place stones in the bowl, please share your joys and sorrows in the chat that we may hear from the community gathered today. And I will drop one final stone into the bowl to represent all of the joys and sorrows left unspoken in the silent sanctuaries of our hearts. May all be held in the heart of love.
Good morning, everyone. Hello, can you hear me now? All right. Excellent. Good morning. Having some technical difficulties on my end, but it looks like you can see me and hear me, so we're moving forward. I'm going to ask you to close your eyes right now and focus on your breathing. And I recognize it might invoke some anxiety to think about everyone breathing right now. After all, breath is the #1 vector of a deadly virus that has brought business as usual to a screeching halt across the globe. But breathing together has become, is both a spiritual practice as well as a vector. So let's take a moment to step out of fear and honor our breath as the thing that also gives us life, connects us to each other and every other living thing on earth. So get comfy, close your eyes if you'd like to, turn your attention to your breath. Don't try to breathe in any special way, just watch the breathing as it happens, in and out. Stay passive, but alert. Note the accompanying sensations in your nose or your chest or diaphragm. As you watch your breathing, note that it happens by itself, without your will, without your deciding each time to inhale or exhale. It's as though you are being breathed by life. Everyone attending this service, near and far, anyone in the city, everyone on the planet right now is being breathed by life, sustained in a vast, living, breathing web. I want you now to visualize your breath as a stream or ribbon of air. See it flow into you, down your windpipe, filling your lungs, and back out again into the world. Now picture that stream or ribbon passing through your heart. After all, that's where the oxygen is headed. Take it in, through your lungs, loop it through your heart, and out. Let your breath stream as it passes through you and your heart, appear in your mind as a loop. One loop in that vast web of life, connecting you to every other person. Know that you are not alone. We are all connected. As we enter into a moment of silence together now, I invite you to draw strength from that web of life and pray for our world. Would you please join me in singing Spirit of Life, our hymn of contemplation, number 123. Once again, although we are keeping our devices muted, we sing out from wherever we are. We are connected together through song. Our reading today comes from Promise of Spring, a collection of meditations by Universalist minister Clinton Lee Scott. This one is entitled Revelation. Truth comes in small installments. Seldom does it break forth in fullness upon a darkened world. Revelation is not a once-for-all disclosure. It's a product of long, laborious, and often spurred discovery. It's found by philosophers, by homemakers, by scientists, by just anyone who lives a thoughtful life. Truth is ever building and built upon. As falling leaves form new soil, truths of former seasons become the compost that sprouts the new growth. Truths that make their way on an unmarked course through the wilderness of ancient error. Their encounter is with opposing authorities and the hobgoblins of distrust and fear. Dogmas of yesterday become the doubted notions of today. Revered orthodoxies of the past become rejected fables in the present. We do well to cherish our meager wisdom and hopefully await a deeper understanding. For truth comes to earth in small installments. Our centering music is something different today. It's a piece by a musician named Leah Morris, created during this time of physical distancing and self-imposed isolation. She is harmonizing with herself. Her message is that even when things seem bleak, there is so much beauty, so much to be grateful for, and so much that inspires hope. If you like this piece and want to hear more, please visit Leah's website, thisisleah.com. It's so important that we support our musicians right now who normally rely on live performances for their income. This is Leah.
One, two, 1, 2. Ba-ba. Ba-ba. There's so much to appreciate, even when the world seems out of hand. Even when we do not understand, still there's so much. There's so much to be grateful for, so much invitation to breathe. Let us take a moment just to breathe and recognize there's so much. Oh, there's so much. There's so much. It's wonderful, even in the midst there's a chance that something new begins. And don't you want that so much? There's so much. So I know we need it so much. So much.
Happy May, everyone. Spring is here in earnest, and there is so much fresh energy in the world. Songbirds are back, sleepy plants are waking up, pushing their bright green noses out of the cold but warming soil. The days are getting longer, which always gives me a little more energy. And the trees are blooming and scattering their petals like pink and white confetti. The joyful awakening of Earth can be an invigorating time. It might also seem a little jarring. The vivacity of springtime is juxtaposed to the inactivity of self-quarantine or the seemingly ubiquitous loss and grief all around us. From the busy and overwhelmed essential worker to the idle and anxious loner at home, every single one of us wishes there was something more we could do. It's easy to feel small and daunted by the situation. It's common at times like this to have a crisis of faith. When I agreed to do this service months ago, Reverend Lane told me the theme for the month of May was faith. And this seemed fitting even before the coronavirus pandemic, and it feels even more fitting now. So at the time, I did what any seminarian might do. I consulted my sacred texts. Now, because I've been a UU my whole life, I have a collection of texts and material that I find sacred, which may or may not overlap with the texts that you find sacred. But one of my most important pieces of print material in my collection of sacred texts is the dictionary. When I'm searching for truth and meaning, I find the dictionary can be a fantastic place to start. It's a rich anthology of ways that we as people describe and understand our world and make meaning of chaotic reality. So I look up faith in my dictionary, and it says, 1, confident belief in the truth, value, or trustworthiness of a person, idea, or thing, fill in the blank. 2, belief that does not rest on logical proof or material evidence. Now, as a lifelong UU, I have observed that sometimes we struggle with the concept of faith because we love logic. We want material evidence. If faith is defined as belief that does not rest on logical proof or material evidence, that is hard for us. To make matters worse, a lot of UUs are converts, and other religions, which we may have grown up in or around, define faith that first way, and then they fill in the blank for you. A confident belief in the truth of that religion's orthodoxy, the value of its relics and rituals, the trustworthiness of their deities. The religion that is Unitarian Universalism doesn't hand most of those things to you. We do agree on values, and our 7 principles do a pretty good job of spelling those out. But as a practicing UU, you have to find and seek the answers to life's big questions, and we do that together. Our faith is a covenant faith, not a creedal faith. That's one of the things that makes us a religion. We do this together. Our free and responsible search for truth and meaning is like an infinitely expanding puzzle. You have to find your piece and bring it to the table so that we can all put the puzzle together. I'm going to come back to this puzzle metaphor later, but it's a little like the breathing meditation we did earlier. You're a little loop, and all the loops together make a web. And it's not just humanity in that web of life, right? Because when you breathe, here, take a deep breath. Ready? That oxygen that's traveling to your heart right now, that oxygen was exhaled by your houseplants, by the trees on the street, by giant sequoias and phytoplankton in the sea, and they will in turn inhale what you exhale. When we inhale, we bring the world inside us. When we exhale, we share our inner selves with the world. Our separateness is an illusion, both scientifically and spiritually. And when we open up to the world spiritually, when we take the world into our hearts, of course we feel pain. Of course we feel grief. Forests are still being logged, mountains are still being mined, children are still held in cages at the border, and thousands of COVID patients are dying alone in quarantine. Of course we feel anger. Of course we feel sadness and loss, because we're connected to the web of life. The suffering in the world is ours. And when we allow ourselves to really feel that pain, our faith, our conscience, our inner flame of the divine, whatever you want to call it, that thing inside us compels us to action. And if you are in that action stage, more power to you, rock on. But for a lot of us, we are spiritually holding our breath because we're afraid that the amount of pain in this world will overwhelm us and we will drown. When we spiritually hold our breath, we don't get to that action stage. We get stuck. We feel small. We feel paralyzed. We feel hopeless. And if that's you right now, listen up, because you are not alone. Take a deep breath physically. This next bit's for you. Gratitude gives us buoyancy. Looking at all the things that have gone well for us gives us the trust we need to move forward. And there are two kinds of hope: passive hope and active hope. Now, as Janet mentioned earlier, I am in seminary right now, and as you can imagine, that involves a lot of reading. One of my assignments in March was to read the book called Active Hope by Joanna Macy and Chris Johnstone. For those of you who are unfamiliar, the authors explain it like this: passive hope is about waiting for external agencies to bring about what we desire. Passive hope is something you have. It is hopefulness, the noun form of hope. We have hope when the outcome we want seems reasonably likely to happen. But what about when we feel small and daunted by our situation? How do we keep our faith when that which we hope for seems so far away and quite unlikely to happen? That's where active hope comes in. The authors describe active hope like this: active hope is about becoming active participants in bringing about what we hope for. Active hope is a practice like Tai Chi or gardening. It's something we do rather than have. Since active hope doesn't require optimism, we can apply it even in areas where we feel hopeless. Rather than weighing our chances and proceeding only when we feel hopeful, we focus on our intention and let it be our guide. Now, we all know that having good intentions does not guarantee good results. Hashtag don't drink bleach. Listen, there's a lot wrong with the world. There is so much that is broken, but you have knowledge and wisdom about something. And when you act out of love, good intentions, and your skill set, you can have faith that it is helping, even when you can't see measurable results. Because that will always be true when the thing that we hope for is so much bigger than any individual. I don't know about you, but active hope sounds a whole lot to me like that second dictionary definition of faith: belief that does not rely on material evidence. You know that by staying at home or wearing a mask and gloves when you go out is flattening the curve, but you can't see the people whose lives you have saved. The picture's just too big. What's amazing about right now is that business as usual has been interrupted across the globe. Right now, we are in what's called a liminal space. A liminal space is like dawn or dusk. It's not day or night. We're in the in-between. My favorite liminal space metaphor is the butterfly. The butterfly is a widely recognized symbol of change, but it's the liminal stage, the chrysalis, that makes the butterfly such a perfect metaphor. As you can tell, I'm a scientist, We're going there. First, the caterpillar does not build its chrysalis. The chrysalis has been growing underneath the caterpillar's skin already. And isn't that true of our society? The pandemic has revealed problems that have been problems for quite some time already. The caterpillar sheds its skin to reveal the chrysalis. Then, and this is the really crazy part, some of the creature's cells detach from each other or break down entirely, and the creature's DNA rearranges itself. The caterpillar actually turns into a sack of goo and then puts itself back together again in a different order. Right now, we, our country, our global society, we're in the goo phase. We're in that liminal space. And the actions we take now will lay the foundation for what kind of world we want to have on the other side of this. So on the days when you feel like you might drown under the pain and grief of the world, focus on gratitude. Because there is so much good and beauty in the world. Take another deep breath. Let it in and let it all out. The air flows into you and the air flows out of you, and the same is true of the suffering of the world. Let the pain and beauty of the world in, love it for a moment, and let it go. This is your action. And on the days when you feel like you can do that without feeling overwhelmed, then your task is vision building. Ask yourself, what do you want the future to look like? And don't play it safe. I'm talking kaleidoscopically colored butterfly wings future. What does the vision of future look like to you? Ask yourself, what are my strengths? What's my area of expertise, my skill set that I can bring to use in active hope? Write it down, draw it, call a friend and talk about it, write a letter to somebody about it. Whether today is a gratitude building day for you or a vision building day for you, I encourage you to act in faith and hope. Pick up that little puzzle piece and bring it to the table. Help us all build the world that we all hope for. Our final hymn today is number 1064, Blue Boat Home. Please remain muted, but sing out joyfully from home or wherever you find yourself.
Mountains and plains, for my Savior's song. I was born upon the fathoms, with her heart a port of unknown. Wide and endless seas, the ocean I traveled, and the earth is like
As we extinguish our chalice flame this morning, let us read together the words printed in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but we keep its light in our hearts, with its message of love and justice, taking it outside these walls to the world we live in until we're together again. Though we cannot be seated next to one another this morning, we're still connected in this community. As we come to a time to close our service, I invite you to practice active hope by writing in the chat either "I have gratitude" or "I have vision." Please join us in typing these words into the chat together. May we have faith in life to do wise planting, that the generations to come may reap even more abundantly than we. May we be bold in bringing to fruition the golden dreams of human kinship and justice. This we ask, that the fields of promise become fields of reality.
Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I've heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. Sometimes I wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me. Somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly. If birds fly over the rainbow, why then, oh, why can't I? If happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow, why, oh, why can't I?